Welcome to the Viral Cash Flow Secrets Podcast, your roadmap to unlocking viral trends and maximizing online profits. Join hosts Jenny Jackson, Lorraine Kamisha, and Jessica Jospeaks Digital from the Viral Profits Academy membership for actionable strategies on leveraging digital trends. It's time to monetize your clicks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Viral Cash Flow Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Walker. I go by Joss Speaks Digital. This is my amazing co-host, Lorraine Kamisha, and we are your guides to decoding viral trends and transforming online buzz into cash. And we are also the founders of the Viral Profits Academy, which our link is in the description. If you want to take a look at the Viral Profits Academy, if you want to talk with us actually in live real time, you can go ahead and join us in the Viral Profits Academy, where we teach entrepreneurs how to go viral and profit on social media. So in today's episode, we will be exploring viral topics. We'll also be weighing in on a couple of different situations that are happening in the digital space. And we'll also provide you with actionable strategies for capitalizing on digital trends and provide you with a couple of different tips to help you go viral and monetize. In today's episode, we are going to be going through Shaunie O'Neal's claims that she never was in love with Shaquille O'Neal. Aww. I feel like we should have like the wah, wah, wah music.
I mean, I don't know. I think over the course of time, I mean, they were pretty young when they got married. I know, or she was, I feel like. Pretty young.
Pretty young. Look how young they are. Jeez Louise.
Like babies.
They do look like babies. Look how young and like how skinny and thin her face is. Oh,
right. Both of them got big head syndrome.
Right. Right. So they were really young when I'm sure 20s. I'm sure 20s. 20s. Right. For sure. So
I could see that though. I mean, Shaq has been notorious for being on podcasts. I mean, I remember, was it the Breakfast Club that he was on? And they were like trying to get on like Shaunie. And he was like, oh, no. It was me. It was all my fault. Like I was a womanizer. I was cheating. I was doing that. I was doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that this is a surprising situation. It doesn't look like either one of them were in love with each other because, I mean, he was doing his thing and you know, I'm not going to be in love with somebody who's dragging me through the mud every 2 seconds. Like, that should be gone. I'm not your grandma, okay? I'll fall in love quicker than I fall in love, I promise you. So that's just me.
But, you know, it's an interesting time that she's dropping this. I think that's kind of the conversation, right? She has a book that's coming out, or it's coming out. And I think this was mentioned in the book, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look, actually, at that post. I believe it was mentioned in the book. And that's what she said, that she wasn't sure if she was ever in love with him. Right. And, you know, he responded in a post that said, hey, during that time, I wouldn't have been in love with me neither, you know. And I think he kind of just like brushed it over. A lot of the conversation in the banner that's happening that I'm seeing on social media, particularly the book, Facebook, is that, oh, well, she doesn't need to say it. She shouldn't have said it right now. Or what about the kids? Why is she bringing this up at this point in time, especially if they have children? That might hurt the children's feelings. But I think she's kind of just saying her truth. I mean, you know, she's married to a pastor now. So, yeah.
Everybody knows that they don't like when women share their truths. We're just supposed to be quiet and not say nothing and just going about our business.
Right. Which, I mean, I think there's some context here that we may be missing. That's how I feel about it. Anything that comes out like this that usually kind of hits, and people respond with emotions anyway, right? Immediately they put themselves into the story and try to like, oh, well, if this was me, well, it's not you. And maybe she has some context as to why she actually said that publicly. And plus, from like you said, what I heard, he really drugged her. He gave her the business with a capital B.
Right. The first time I find out that you're doing something, I'm like, I'm not in love. Like, so I mean, I can see that if he entered into a marriage that he then did what he did, clearly he wasn't in love either. Like, I don't understand how that not be the case on both sides.
Both sides, right.
Right. People get married for whatever reason, at any point in time. I mean, it's only a recent situation where we are now just talking about being married and in love as that being a reason to get married. There have been arranged marriages for centuries, right? That was not based, I mean, these people meeting each other at the altar. Love was not a factor.
Right.
Getting married.
And a lot of people are having that conversation around arranged marriages, like, actually it's better. It actually lasts longer.
Could be.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I hear the streets saying.
I wouldn't know. I ain't never had an arranged marriage. I've had a few marriages, but
I've heard folks kind of mention that they might want to try it with their children and saying, "Oh, I think I would want to arrange because I don't want my daughter to go through heartache. I want her to be with someone that we know is going to take care of her in the sense, right, of what we think that should look like." And then I've also heard on the opposite side of that, because I said something. I remember in a post years ago around like, well, what about being in love and like finding that person, your person and your soulmate. And somebody responded to me and was like, "Girl, what that got to do with anything?"
I mean, I tend to kind of agree. I mean, I love, of course, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should tie your livelihood, to somebody legally, financially, spiritually, being in love. I've been in love with some real jokers in my day. Love does not equal marriage, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know if do people have it twisted and then I think too, I mean, this is do I say high? I guess. Yeah, I guess it's high profile, right? I mean, he's a basketball player. He was at the peak of his career at that time and running around. But I mean, it really, I think it served her, to be honest. Because she built a whole career and show off of the back of being a wife of a basketball player.
Yeah, and that could be and that's kind of, what I'm saying? Like, there's a trade-off there. I'm not saying that just because you get married to somebody like that, or just because you're getting some benefits out of it, does that mean you should be drugged? No, nobody should ever be drugged. No. But if you're marrying somebody, you should be marrying somebody that could do something for you, and in turn you do something for them. Like, we're very clear, I feel like, in society about what men are supposed to get out of marriage. He's supposed to get somebody who will cook and clean and do those things and take care of his kids and do this and do that and whatever. But we don't really talk about, okay, what is, I want to say, appropriate, because it seems like anything that you expect out of marriage as a woman, you're automatically labeled as a gold digger. Like, hey, I expect my man to be, if I got to get pregnant and step out of the workforce and reduce my hours and, potentially put myself at risk to not be able to work or get sick or whatever, I expect my man to be able to pay for, the bills. I expect him to be able to cover all that. Oh, you're a gold digger. It's hard out here for a pimp. Da, 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 da. It's just like, that's not my vibe. And, I expect my man to be able to pay the household bills. That doesn't mean I'm living for free. That's one thing we had to get together in our household, baby. Just because you pay 3 bills does not mean you're providing for my life. You pay the mortgage, you pay the light, you pay the water, you pay the gas. There's kids, there's cars, there's insurance, there's investments, there's retirement plans, there's 401ks, there's vacations, there's trips, there's opportunities that you wouldn't be able to take advantage of without my part of the money as well. So, but I do expect that my partner can keep a roof over our head, because there's more risk for just me being me.
Right. I'm trying to think. I had it and it left. I mean, going back to the topic of whether or not you need to be in love with someone in order to be married to them. You like you said, there's been a lot of dudes that I felt like, oh, and then yeah,
That's
nah,
the one.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
that's my soulmate, baby. That's the yeah, no. I mean, I'm not saying
The
that
D was there, and about that was about it. That was
yeah, that oftentimes be it. But I'm not saying that you should not love your spouse or love should not be included. I'm just saying
Mhm.
love does not mean or lead to marriage. Like that's not for me, you know. Like I said, I've done this thing 3 times. um, so
Yeah,
being right, done this thing a few times. So, you know, and every man that I loved is not husband material. Just is what it is. You know, if your man is you calling him in at 3 a.m. and he out, can't nobody find, like that's not a husband. And no matter how much I love him, you know, if he can't keep a job, that's not a husband. And no matter how much you love him, you know, that those are just not husband qualities. They're not.
yeah, and I think there was a conversation too around just what love is and knowing the difference between somebody treating you right and somebody not treating you right. And you don't know
Mhm.
when you're younger what that even really looks like for you. First of all, you're trying to get to know yourself. You don't even know yourself really, and then you don't realize this until you're older. Everybody, when they're younger, think, "Oh, I know what's, I got it." And you're like, "Oh, you turn 30, around your 30, you're like, oh, dang, I ain't got it." Still discovering stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna like that. I don't like that. It was the time I wanted to be a speaker, and I remember going out and speaking, and I had like 3 speaking events, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I'll be in different airports all the time, missing my kids and stuff. Oh no, 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 thank you. I'm good. Sit me back down in my chair. So it's
Right.
that understanding that sometimes you don't know what you want until you kind of get a little bit of it, and you're like, yeah, you know what? Nope,
Yeah.
I'm good.
I can attest to that. Like, it was like, I thought that, you know, the first time I got married, I was 21 years old. And I thought that I wanted to be married because that's all I saw. Everybody in my family, my parents were married for like 34 years before my father passed away. You know, my aunties, my uncle, all of them, cousins, everybody was married. And because I saw certain things in my household, I felt like, well, that's marriage. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? That right there is marriage. I didn't see a lot of fussing and fighting and arguing and cussing and throwing people out and daddy cheating and mama and babies popping up. And, you know, I didn't see all of that stuff. And a lot of people, when I talk about it on social media, be like, oh, your parents didn't just share it with you. No, baby, kids see everything.
Every
Okay. You might think that you're keeping a lot of stuff from your kids. You're not. Your
Yep.
kids see the dysfunction. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that my parents did not have no type of disagreements or nothing, but the way they disagreed was in a healthy way. So when I got out in the world, I thought that marriage is that. And a lot of people are coming into marriages like that. They think that marriage is that what they grew up with. That is normal for them. It could be normal for daddy never to be home and mama to be struggling with everything, and you know the lights being cut off, and you know eviction notices being under. That could be normal for them. And while some people will want to make changes for the better, other people are like, I mean, my mama did it, my daddy did it that way. They still here. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really realize that every time you are in love with somebody, that does not mean that that is going to be your person for life.
Yeah. Great points. Great points. Great points. Um, I mean, any last thoughts on this whole Shaunie O'Neal and oh wait, she's Henderson now. Shawnee Shawnee
Henderson.
O'Neal Henderson, or Shawnee Henderson. I think she just got the Henderson only now. I do remember watching Basketball Wives, and I do recall her just reliving a lot of that. And I don't remember
Mhm.
a lot of things, but I remember a couple of episodes where she was just talking about like how many women he had cheated on her with, and how many times she had to go and run out and do all these different things, and like she had to carry her family after they, split up and all that good stuff. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
I get it. I get why she would say that in the book. Like, because and then some of it can be pain too. If we're just
Mhm.
outside, I'm gonna just say outside looking in because I don't know these people. Outside looking in, she could be saying it purely off of fact that like you hurt me so much. Like I don't know if I ever like 'cause you fall out of love real quick. Every time you turn around, somebody is doing
I
something
mean,
crazy behind your back.
yeah,
Dropping bombs. I heard he was farting and stuff too. Like just disgusting.
yeah, I've been in that situation before where it's like, you meet a guy and then he turns into something completely different. And it
Right.
does have you going back and thinking, like, how could you be in love with somebody that never existed in the first place? Because
Right.
these types of relationships, they don't just jump up and be like on day one, hey, I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to have 50 affairs. I'm going to have a couple of side babies. I'm going to, go days at a time without speaking to you because I'm with my other girl. They don't pop up and say that on day one. No, they wine and dine you. They tell you that you're all these things and you're great and I'm going to start a family with you, and they future fake you, and then they get you to the altar. And yeah, you might have seen one or two things, maybe a red flag here or there or whatever, but they always assure you, oh, I'm gonna learn from my mistakes and it'll never happen again, da, 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 da. And they get back to the love bombing. Next thing you know, you're married to Shaquille O'Neal, and yeah, the life is good financially, but emotionally you're dead on the inside because this man is publicly dragging you through the mud.
Dragging, and I mean with a capital D, like I said, dragging her. And like you said, and then it's public on top of that, and just the humiliation of that, right? I could only now that we're even talking about it, I'm like, yeah, I would have said in the book too.
And a lot of it, again, that's their norm. We have to realize that times are very different. We come literally from a time where we could not own property, we could not have anything in our name, we couldn't have a bank account, we couldn't work, we have been held back and oppressed in this country, hell, in this world, period. Okay. So a lot of them have watched their grandfathers and fathers and before them just way back doing whatever it is that they wanted to, because it's nothing that you could say or you could do about it. And I always said there's a special place in hell for people who take advantage of people just because they feel like they can. There is a special place in hell for those type of people. I believe that.
I agree.
Because I would never take advantage of somebody just because I feel like I could get away with it. This person has no agency to get away or do something different or to move on. She's stuck with me, so I can do whatever I want to. And a lot of them have that mentality. They're stuck. I married her, and they get you in these places and get you pregnant and put you in positions where you have a bunch of kids, and then they just go do whatever.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Just saw yesterday on Instagram that back in the day, if you and this was for Caucasian women, I'm not sure what the overall, because I'm sure this was racism times, but like the 30s, 40s, I think, if you talked back to your husband, they could put you in the insane asylum.
Oh yeah, they did a lot of stuff like that, giving lobotomies and things like that. The insane asylums were full of women, discarded women that their husband either couldn't control or just didn't want to discard, didn't want to be bothered with anymore.
So there was no asking for a divorce. There was none of that. There was none of that leaving. None of that.
You're stuck.
You're stuck, and you're with me. And guess what? So you don't like me, too bad. And on top of that, being able to beat you, you down to a bloody pulp.
And in that period, courtships were short, very short.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a remnants of, where these, you see a lot of posts on social media. Oh, he should know within, a few months if you're the one, and, all that other stuff, because it's short. A person can only keep on their mask for so long. Okay. It's always going to slip off. And statistically, it's 3 to 6 months. Some and the good ones can go even longer than that. Okay. 3 to 6 months is how long somebody can keep that whole persona up or whatever. And back then, courtship was very short. Courtship was very short. So you don't know who you're marrying until you get into that situation. Now you're a piece of property and there's nothing that you can do about it. I mean, there are things you can do about it. There's some stories in my family, but I don't want to incriminate anybody, so I'm going to say
Right. Yeah, we
of soldiers. Let's just put it that way. Women who didn't play.
Okay. Yeah, I just showed my daughters a picture of Harriet Tubman the other day, and my dad has up at his house, and I was talking about that whole thing. Just kind of telling her, women have always been in the forefront of every movement, right? We're always the person to move forward. But anyway, we definitely need to dive a bit into that and like talk about the evolution of like marriage in the sanctuary.
All day long. There was a video that I watched that was on some type of streaming network, maybe about, I want to say 7-8 years ago. And it really dove into the history of marriage. Like why was it created, who created it, what it was initially for, basically wealth and power, land transfer, that type of thing. And I don't remember the title of it and I can't find it for nothing, but I would love to find it.
They got rid of that.
Yeah, if you're watching right now, I would do a whole TikTok series just breaking it up, just breaking it down. It changed my life just watching it. I was in the midst of probably that last marriage when I when I ran across it, and I was like, I don't know, yo.
Yeah, we definitely gotta dive into that. See, so not only will you get viral trends, you'll also get educated on the history. Because we are both research nerds, so we could go all day into some history on some stuff now. Because now I'm like interested into learning, like, okay, so what exactly was this whole asylum put together? Like, all that stuff. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us for the Viral Profits, Viral Cash Flow Secrets podcast. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platforms. And join us next time as we continue our journey to decode viral success, keep riding the wave, and turning clicks into cash. And we'll see you all in the next podcast episode. Peace.